Hey everyone, I'm Kate Kennedy and I'm here with day 70 of 100 Days of Kane, PA. And today we're going to talk with Amber Hancherik, who moved to Kane in 2007, and she and her husband Mike have decided to raise their family here. So we're going to hear from her about what she loves about Kane and some stories from the early days of her moving here. So I'm going to go ahead and flip you around and we're going to walk over and say hello.
Hello.
Hi Amber, how are you tonight?
I'm great. How are you? Hi everyone out there.
Hi, so good to see you. Thank you so much for taking time to talk with us tonight.
Oh, thanks for asking me to be part of Day 70.
Yes, and so could you please share what brought you to Kane in the first place?
So, ironic story. Those of you who are romantic are going to probably enjoy this. My husband and I were college sweethearts at Penn State, and he's a forester. And so, right out of school, he got his very first job at Kane Hardwood, Collins Pine Company. He worked with Blaine Poehler for many, many years. And eventually, he asked me to marry him. I was living in Harrisburg, and I said, I'll marry you, but I have to find a job in Kane. And so, God love him, he said, well, I'm sure you'll find something. And at the time, I was working for Penn State University on a grant. My grant was ending. And it was around the same time. It was the end of 2006. And there was a group of people, and you're going to know a lot of these names, Kate, but you might not know Connie Gren. She used to be the general manager at Kane Hardwood.
I've definitely heard that name.
Becky Harris, which I'm sure you know Becky, and Tim Robinson as part of CARE. And this group, well, it was Tim and Becky, and then Sue Wilson, and Gary Rhodes, and they all came together and they said, you know what? Why do we have these resources known as the Chamber, the KIDC, and CARE that are working as three separate entities? We should put them together under one umbrella. And so what you know is the Kane Area Development Center came to be born. And in 2006, I was hired as the very first director of that.
That's awesome. So you moved to Kane because your college sweetheart got a job here, and your very first job was as director of the KADC.
Correct.
Which is really instrumental in the development of the town.
So 2007, rural community. This was prior to the housing recession, everything that happened, the crashes. And these people, honestly, when you think of the ingenuity they had, they were trying to preserve the resources. And what they really had was this innovative concept to bring together this partnership and really work together for the betterment of the Kane community. And so it was, and I have to laugh because my very first day, I moved in February, and I moved in Saturday. Sunday we unpacked. Monday I showed up at the office, and Linda Keller was the very first person who was there to meet me. And she took me to meet, you know her as Jill Grush, but she was Jill Thompson at the time. And they said, we're going to walk you through everything you need to know. Welcome to Kane. We have to tell you, it's cold, but it's not usually that cold. I said, okay. So,
and this is February.
This is February in Kane. So at this point, I have my hat, my scarf, my gloves, a heavy winter parka, and they said, let's go to the Rotary meeting. We want you to meet the Rotarians. First day at the job, go to the Rotary meeting, and everybody says to me, oh, welcome to Kane. We're so glad you're here. We've heard lots of stuff about you, and we promise you, this is just a cold snap. It's really never this cold in Kane. And I believed them. I believed all you people who told me it was never this cold in Kane in February.
And I believe in their hearts.
It really,
to them, it was not that cold.
Well, when you hear the stories of people, walking through, hip piles of snow to and from school, yeah, it really probably wasn't cold to them. But, for me, I grew up in the Pittsburgh area, it was cold. So every year when I pull out my, winter clothes, I always laugh and think, here we are. It's really never this cold. So I always joke,
Well, your
it's
body
temporary.
And your blood have probably adapted to the cold winter since 2007.
Absolutely. But it has been really fun, Kate, to watch the development of the KADC and all the changes that have happened. So, there's been a line of directors after me, but to grow the town and watch how everybody has contributed has been a fantastic experience.
Yeah, so you started in 2007, and you were the first one that kind of oversaw the three groups together.
Yeah.
What are some of the changes and the developments in the town that you've seen since that time?
So, first of all, I've seen a lot of younger professionals move home, which has been fantastic. The other thing I've noticed is longtime residents are excited about their community again. You know, I see them walking, I see them stopping to look at storefronts, I see them at football games, you know, at the grocery store. And there's just this air of excitement and enthusiasm and pride for their community.
Yeah, that's awesome. And how long were you in this position as executive director of KABC?
So about 2.5 years.
Okay, so what were some of the memories or stories that you can think of that you'd like to share about your time in those 2 years in that position?
So the first was the middle of summertime, and I did mention I didn't grow up here. And I can remember hearing what I thought was the fire siren, and I couldn't understand why people were panicking. And here, the fire siren was the tornado siren, which was completely random to me. And then another time when I heard the fire siren, I'm like, well, wait, that's the tornado siren I know. Like, should I be taking cover? And Michelle Palmer at the community center said to me, no, you don't have to worry about it. Like, when you know the sirens, you'll know what to expect. So in your world, whenever you hear fire, it's tornado. So go take shelter. And whenever you hear, you know, the foghorns, that's the fire siren. And I can also remember 10:30 at night on a Friday night and hearing them. And my gosh, they're going off, they're going off, they're going off. It's like, you know, a September, October time frame. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, the world is exploding. What are all these sirens? Here, the high school boys football team was winning their games and they were on a playoff hunt. And so the fire trucks were greeting them to bring them back into town.
And isn't that Kane?
It was, you know, Kane at its finest. That here we were, you know, listening to the celebration. And that has just always been near and dear to my heart, that we bring out the fire trucks to welcome home, you know, our kids.
Yeah.
To celebrate their accomplishments.
Kane is definitely a high school sports town, and the fire department is a huge backer of that. Yeah. So that's so funny, yeah, to think of it from an outsider's perspective.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is really
so the good news is, 12 years later, I have it straight. I know what to do in the event of an emergency.
That's awesome. And you have, you know, that was 12 years ago, as you mentioned. So you've decided to stay in Kane, even though you have moved on from this position. Mm-hmm. You have decided to raise your 2 kids here in Kane. They're in the Kane school district, and you stayed. So what is it that kept you in Kane, and why do you love it here?
So somewhere along, you know, our journey, my husband and I had a discussion about what we wanted in life, what we wanted for our family. And we decided that we wanted a small town community. We wanted a place where we knew our neighbors would know our kids, where we had, you know, a good school district, where there was opportunities for us. And we've been very fortunate in our careers that we both have very good careers, and we've had the opportunity to grow them. But we also feel fortunate we've been able to put down roots here. We have good friends, friends who become like families to us. We've been able to, you know, grow our family. We have 2 beautiful children. One is in 3rd grade, one's in preschool. And to know that they're part of this community. And, you know, when we go out, people come up and they talk to them. They've accepted my husband and I. And that's something that we really value.
What are some of the ways that you and your family spend your downtime together? I know you're all busy, but when you have an afternoon free in this area, what are some of the ways that you like to spend time together?
So this summer, actually, we started taking the kids kayaking. So we like to take them out on the reservoir. We'll launch close to, oh my gosh, sorry, I'm distracted by the cars driving up and down
Main Street here.
But by Kayasutha. So we'll take them out and we'll paddle around, and we love just watching the osprey nest. We like to see, you know, when the boats are coming by in the no wake zone, and, you know, for us they cause little waves and the kids get a big kick out of that. We like to take them for walks in our neighborhood. We have a big backyard, so really we just like to stay at home and explore and find out what we have in our own backyard.
And your kids are pretty involved in community groups too, right? Mm-hmm. What are some of the ways that they've gotten connected growing up here in Kane?
Both kids play soccer. They're in the youth soccer league. It's so fun to watch on the weekends when all the kids, they show up for a game, they root for each other, and the families that stay just to watch the other games. My daughter's in the Girl Scout troop. She's fantastic volunteers that are her leaders, very active troop, and I give so much credit to those who volunteer their time. There's so many opportunities for our kids in the community.
Yeah, that's very true. I think that the perk of a small town, but particularly Kane, is the way that kids are incorporated into everything to become really great citizens as they grow.
Absolutely. And ironically, you'll see my daughter every year. I chair their Kane Rotary Radio auction, and she's one of our biggest volunteers, actually, or probably in her case, one of the smallest volunteers because she's short. But
just because she's little.
She's little, but she's
big impact.
Yeah, exactly. So those of you who participate in the auction every year, let me start by saying thank you, because we can't do it without you. But she's the little girl who, when you call in your bid, she takes the bid and brings it up to the board so they can write your numbers down. So she's pint size and perfect for that job.
That's awesome. And I think the Rotary, a service club here in Kane, is one of the backbones of our community. And I know that you've been very involved over the years. Are there some stories about the Rotary or about the radio auction in particular that you could share?
Well, there's lots of stories I can share about Rotary, but they might be a really great theme for you for another night. But the sense of fellowship with Rotarians and pride that we give, that we have for Kane, and then both time and money that we give back to the community, it's really outstanding when you think about that contribution for tons of projects, more than probably most people would realize. In terms of the auction, we pick a partner every year. And really we share the proceeds with them. This year we partnered with the Ludlow Wildcat Park, the Community Association, to help them recoup some of the costs. They've done a lot of renovation projects out there.
It's amazing out there.
The year before we did the Evergreen Park project. It was to go towards the pavers by the gazebo and then the Memorial Point. We've also done the backpack project, the library, community center, the fire department.
Big truck goes by.
Just pause for a moment. All great causes. And what I'm just constantly amazed by is the generosity of our local businesses to donate items, but also the generosity of our community to keep supporting the auction.
And is that through a local radio station?
We partner with the Hound, so 97.5, and we'll do advertising with our local radio station here in Kane.
Yeah, and that's great. And even though you moved on from this position, you still are really involved in the Rotary through the Rotary auction. And that's a yearly huge undertaking that you do to continue to contribute to the community that you've grown to love.
Yes, absolutely.
That's so great. I'm so glad that you felt welcomed from the beginning, and you really have invested in this town that has made a difference for not only you, but for your kids as well.
Absolutely. We're grateful to Kane. We're grateful for the people here. We love it. And, I think this is a fantastic series and a way to connect people.
And I think it says a lot when someone, both you and your husband are not from here, but you've chosen to plant your roots here and raise your kids here. And I think that says a lot about the community.
It absolutely does. And we have friends who live all over the world, and we constantly invite them to come to Kane. And when they come, I know that they always live a little piece of their heart here, because they always ask what's going on in Kane.
Yeah, I can see that. I can understand why.
Exactly.
A little biased, but I get it. All right, Amber. Well, hey, thank you for your time. Is there anything else that you wanted to share, or any other stories that you might have that you didn't get a chance to talk about tonight before we wrap up?
Not offhand, but I know as soon as you hang up, I'm sure I'll come up with them.
All right. Well, hey, thank you again. We're so grateful that you and your family are part of the community, and thanks for the difference that you've made in helping to revitalize this town. Great. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. I love hearing stories of people who choose to be here. They didn't grow up here, but they see the value of raising their families here. And Amber's family is one of those great examples. And as one of the first people to have the position that I have at the Kane Area Development Center. She has really set a precedent for helping to revitalize the town, as we're seeing today is just undergoing this great momentum and energy for change. And so I'm wondering, how have you guys seen Kane change over the years? We'd love to hear in the comments below how you've seen the growth and development of this town, of Fraley Street, Field Street, and the surrounding parts of Kane. So please leave your comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you again tomorrow for day 71.